they're always there. Action Force are there. Action Force will dare. Action Force. Now, your host, Joe Slepsky.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Joe on Joe. It's me, your host, Joe Slepsky, and this is normally the show where we cover all of the issues of G.I. Joe Real American Hero, the comic book, all the episodes of the Sunbow, the DIC, the Extreme. But you've tuned in to, well, if you're a longtime listener, I believe this is probably like episode 9 or 10 of Joe-Nie Loves Action Force.
We're getting up there.
We're getting up there. Welcome back, Michael Nie.
Thank you.
For another episode of us talking about Action Force, the British version of G.I. Joe. We're up to, we're in the 40s. We've hit the 40s.
Yeah.
The end is in sight.
Yeah, I don't think the audience, at the time knew it, but...
no, they didn't.
But
the editor sure knew.
Yeah.
The editor sure knew that we were nearing the end. Michael, of course, is... if you've been listening for the last few episodes, you know who he is. If you're a new listener, go back and listen to it. Michael has a complete extensive collection of the Action Force. I keep saying monthly, but weekly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Action Force Weekly Comics. So that's what we've been going through. So if you're just joining us today for the first time, please reach back into the pod and start at the start of this little venture because it's been enjoyable.
It's been great.
Yeah?
It's been great. Different artists, different writers, and
different vibe.
A different tone for sure.
Different tone. Definitely more bloodthirsty.
Yeah.
Yeah. More bloodthirsty. A little less. It's kind of like because they drop in on the American comic continuity.
Yeah.
These are kind of like vignettes.
Yeah.
Where they'll dip in, they'll say, hey, you remember this stuff? Because they reprint issues from the American comics. So they'll reprint some random issue, and then they'll say, and this one kind of ties in with that. This is what was happening there. So these are really like vignettes, like little side stories of like, while that was going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they definitely, they even did some minor modifications to some of those G.I. Joe reprints,
Mm-hmm.
excised some pages that, wouldn't make sense because this character, we haven't introduced or what have you. And so
added some domestic violence.
Yeah.
As we saw with Flint and Lady J last week.
So yeah, it's definitely a different paradigm, and it's just kind of interesting, the subtle differences.
Yeah. And I'm definitely at this point, I'm putting various accents in my head. I don't know that they're right.
Sure.
But I normally don't do that with almost any comic book. But with this one, I'm absolutely now starting to throw in various random British, Irish, Australian, fill in the blank, something non-American accent onto pretty much everyone's voice.
Adding color to the color.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listeners, if you are online and listening to us, because most likely you are, because this is a podcast, and really without the internet, you're not going to be able to hear this. That means you're listening on a podcast catcher, and they've got a review system there. So please go give us 5 stars, rate and review. Let us know you're out there. That helps us in all the various algorithms, and people see the show, and the show grows, and we meet more cool people. And, drop by and say hi on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Joe on Joe Pod. Send me an email to joeandjoepod@gmail.com. You can help support the show at patreon.com/joeandjoepod. And, you get access to pretty much the entire library of everything we've done. I'm over 400 episodes, Michael.
That's impressive.
It's a lot of yammering. It's a lot of yapping about G.I. Joe. And every time I meet someone that, they're like, oh, first it's G.I. Joe. And then they go, what do you talk about? I go, well, G.I. Joe. And they're like, oh, like a couple episodes of it? Like 8 years? And then they go, oh. And then they whisper something disparaging to my wife. And then I don't hear what it is. And then I just hear her go, oh, no, it's really good.
Gotta love that support. Absolutely.
Oh, she supports you 100%.
Of course.
100%.
Of course.
So we're excited. Oh, and while you're online, you need to listen to our wonderful sponsors, the Movies in a Meal podcast. They've been sponsors of this show for I think 5 years, which is fantastic. They help keep the lights on. You can help keep the lights on Patreon, but definitely show them some love. Drop by, say hi to them. Michael, we were just talking movies before we got on.
Mm-hmm.
Last night I watched In a Violent Nature horror movie. I thought it was fabulous. Basically, Friday the 13th from the perspective of Jason.
Yeah.
Love it. What did you just see?
Oh, The Substance.
The Substance.
I'll let the audience decide whether or not it has substance. It was unique.
Yeah.
Which is,
Cronenbergian, it sounds like.
Definitely some body horror.
If you're a Cronenberg fan, you got to check out The Substance, and then tell Michael you were right. So, and we are getting in Halloween season. Well, we're recording this. We're getting in Halloween season. As this airs, it'll probably be spring of 26. 25. No.
It's a time capsule.
It's a time capsule. It's
like
a time
like
capsule.
the G.I. Joe magazines you've been
Just
talking
like
about.
the G.I. Joe magazines we've been talking about. So, listeners, give them a shout for sure. So, today we're talking Action Force. Issues 40, 41, and then 43.
Yeah.
Grouping wise, last issue 42 got included because that was the domestic violence issue, which felt like a PSA.
Yeah.
Don't punch your other. And it really is for both of them.
Timeless.
Yeah, timeless. Timeless, Lady J. Why didn't you become a murderer? Flint, why don't you see how this feels? It was really a moment in time. So if you missed last week's episode, please check it out.
Yeah, so this week we close out 1987. So we start with a two-part, arc here, and then issue 43 is the last issue that was published in 1987, right before Christmas.
Timing wise, this is the era that when I'm covering the G.I. Joe magazines, I'm covering this era right now. So
yeah.
I just did fall of 87. So the fridge was on everyone's mind.
Mm-hmm.
Mailaways for him. What else happened in 87? Like big picture wise, in
the world.
In the world, yeah. I feel like 87 was 87 the fall of Berlin Wall. Or was that 80? Was that 89? Was that? I know he said Reagan said take down this wall, but I thought the wall didn't come down until Bush's administration.
And obviously it depends, your perspective. The U.S. where you're reading the G.I. Joe
85
magazine
was a massive year, and all this stuff happened in 85. And then the next couple of years, people were like, "Whoo, what a hangover!" Yeah. How old were you in 87?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't have to say.
I don't know if I'm.
I don't mind saying it. I was 12 years old.
Oh, okay. No.
Professionally, I don't want to put you on the spot.
No. It's all good. I was born in the 80s, so I was a wee. I was 4 years old in 1987.
Okay.
4.5 by this time.
I was 12, so I was getting ready to get out of G.I. Joe because I was like, when you turn 13, you can't play with toys. But hold on, I gotta go buy more comic books.
And I was just getting into it.
Yeah.
And actually, part of my interest of going through this is like, I say I was 4.5, but because of my older brother, he's 7-8 years older than I am.
Mm-hmm.
He, a lot of my cultural references are, he got me into Star Wars and G.I. Joe early. So I think I was probably 3.5, 4 when I started playing with G.I. Joe action figures. So early. And so, like the battle armored Cobra Commander was one of my early figures, which I know makes some people cringe, but yeah, it was just my entry point.
I think the best thing about Battle Armor Commander, and the most subtle thing that not a lot of people realize, is like that Cobra Commander only wore it once,
mm-hmm.
and it really wasn't ever really a suit. I think because Larry must have looked at that and said, "That's terrible."
Yeah,
How could they do that to my boy? I'm not gonna partake in that. We're gonna make it be a doppelganger. Yeah.
And I know there's many opinions, but that Cobra Commander with that Buzzbore was like,
there are times
that was my combo.
There are times when I love it because it's crazy.
Sure.
So from a crazy perspective, don't get me wrong, I salute it.
Of course.
But wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You start with a design, whether it's the hood or the face mask, that is legendary, as we've seen. Around the world, people know that face. Like it has become it's grown. It's become a thing. People understand that's who Cobra Commander is. And it's like you have that and you're like, all right, how can we mess it up?
Needless to say, there's no battle armored Cobra Commander in Action Force here. So
no, there isn't. There's plenty of battle armor in the magazines.
Yeah.
But there's not. You're right. There's not an Action Force. In fact, today we start with 2 adventures from our favorite ninjas.
Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. Yeah.
Yes.
So titles on the covers of these, as we look at the covers here, Eye of the Tiger and Eye of the Storm.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. If you put the 2 covers side by side, it makes one larger image with
drawn by the mega talented Mark Farmer. Who
most
people would know him from inking Alan Davis. And when you look at this cover and then his pencils on inside, you see where a lot of that Alan Davis fluidity comes from.
Mm-hmm.
That just silky smooth characters that Alan Davis draws. That's here in Mark Farmer. So you see why they make such a perfect complement. And he also draws a very lean character. Did you notice that?
Lean and mean, yeah.
Yeah, his characters aren't like overly bulky. You know, they're muscled, but they're not like hulks. They're more normal sized people that are just in great shape and ready to run through the jungle.
Like Bruce Lee style, you know.
Very much Bruce Lee bodies. Absolutely. I got a lot of Satellite Down vibes with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that a lot. I wonder if that had an influence in just the idea for doing this.
The story inside the title is Law of the Jungle.
Yeah.
So it's Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow with no other, cast members to interfere.
There, that tiger in that like bronze tiger looking thing in the background.
Very Tiger Force.
Very Tiger Force, but also
it looks like the logo of Tiger Force to me.
There's, as I'm looking at this, I'm sorry I didn't think of this before. There's an old Marvel Kung Fu cover.
I'm not sure I know that one.
That is referenced probably either from Master Kung Fu or maybe it's from Power Man and Iron Fist.
Okay.
That's very similar to this, and I think it comes from the Bruce Lee imagery. I mean, I think they're all riffing on the same thing, so I'm not saying it's a ripoff, but yeah, that's a big vibe I'm getting from this. And then when you know what happens in the story, you go, oh, it's not just a cool tiger.
Yeah, yeah.
it's the bad guy in the story.
Yep. No Cobra here. Definitely.
And as an absolute unabashed Snake Eyes V2 stan, that drawing of him looks great.
It's awesome. And the lighting, that is, drawn, is very, in a different style, but Hector Garrido-esque. Like it's like how the packaging art.
The lighting is awesome. And if you look at it, obviously it's of a piece. It's the same light sources on the Storm Shadow one, so they work well together. But just the detail on it, spotting the blacks and with the blue highlights in the right places, his all of his attachments, his wristbands, armbands, all the various bandolier stuff look fabulous. Like that is a great Snake Eyes.
Yeah, I mean he definitely had good reference or the action figure in front of him because it's very toyetic.
Yeah,
but lean.
And and hey, Storm Shadow looks really great too. But man, I love that Snake Eyes.
Yeah,
I really, really do. It's really nice.
Yeah, and his pose is. Yeah, it's the head tilt, and
this has got to be one of the ones that goes for a little bit more online.
I would imagine.
It seems like when we've looked into this, all the Snake Eyes covers tend to go. Obviously, it makes sense, but they tend to go for a little more than your average Action Force issue.
Yeah, and for a lot of
American putting a collection together
for the American collectors, I mean these are images that we've not necessarily seen as much,
right.
And so different drawings of art.
And they continue the trend of having Destro on one cover and then Flint, like alternating Destro Flint to keep both the kids who are like, I'm a bad kid, not like Cobra, and then the kids going, I like to not be a jerk in school. I like G.I. Joe. Just keep everyone happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
On the issue 41, there's a Telltale competition inside.
Yeah.
More contests happening.
Yeah, and so it is interesting to me because, as we stated, the editors probably knew that we're coming to an end. But the way the contests are spoken about in these, again, I don't know if they're intentionally misleading the reader that it's not coming to an end, but they're definitely not letting on, because there's even still discussion about winner of the Action Force subscription for a year.
And the Telltale is you can win cassette tape packs. That's cool.
Yeah. So these, we'll talk about these a little bit as we get into it. But these Ladybird books that were published in the UK, there were 6 of them, but 2 of them were sold with cassettes. And it's really cool because and I was asking a bit around some of my Brit Joe fans and Action Force fans, and I couldn't get a straight answer. I was trying to of these 6 Ladybird books that exist, how many of them came with cassettes, and I couldn't get. No one had the definitive answer, but this answers the question. So 2 of them.
Oh wow.
And it's interesting, of those 6 Ladybird books, 2 of them you'll find are a bit more expensive. because they had all original art and stories.
Mm.
The other 4 basically took animation cell artwork from the cartoon and put them into these books.
Oh, wow.
So as I understood it, these were, available through the school programs around England. And yeah, the fact that they did 2 of them with cassettes, it's really cool.
There's 2 that are readily available on eBay, or 3. Well, there's a third one as well that are readily available on eBay. All from England. So there's shipping is going to cost you $15-20. But,
Sure.
But the pricing is pretty reasonable. $6, $9, $5.
Mm-hmm.
Return of the Dinosaurs, Spy in the Cobra Camp, Flint's Holiday.
Right, which is based on the Flint's Vacation cartoon episode.
Which is
so
fabulous.
when you read the book, if you were to watch that episode, it's a companion piece.
Yeah,
it's basically a book form. And the dinosaur one, what was the cartoon episode, Joe, where they go back prehistoric? They encounter dinosaurs. What that was?
They encountered dinosaurs.
Do you remember?
Oh man, it's vaguely there. I mean, it's been a few years since we covered all those.
There's another Sumbo episode that involves
sure.
dinosaurs, and that's where they pull the animation or the art from.
Oh, that's cool.
But
really
there's
great, though.
one with like a Yeti on the cover.
Okay.
That is all original, and
looks like they did this for Transformers as well.
correct. Yeah.
These are great. These look pretty awesome. Okay, this is on my radar now.
Yeah. So
I love stuff like this.
Yeah. They were only available in England. It was, another publisher. Ladybird was the publisher, and they did 6. There's 6 of them, and they're digest size, roughly. So they'd be the equivalent of the.
Here we go. Issue 40 you can buy for $15 plus $5 shipping right now on eBay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's not too bad.
Not too bad. I mean, for one issue, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, not terrible. Well, that's cool, man. I like this lady. So, listeners, Google the Ladybird stuff. You'll see what we're talking about. That's pretty neat. I'd love to see that stuff reprinted.
Yeah. No, it would be cool.
I'd love to see all this. Let's be real here.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see all this Action Force stuff reprinted. Grab the Ladybird copyright stuff. Grab this Action Force stuff. Put it in one big compendium because it's really quantity is not that much, right? You could do a big omnibus style kind of book like they're doing with the G.I. Joe, the
Kickstarter,
Skybound stuff, yeah. And you could do an Action Force omnibus that would pretty much collect almost all this European stuff. They did Marvel did one probably 10 years ago, and I don't think it sold really well, but it was a trade of, I have it. It's the Hulk UK stuff. And it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. It's a collection of actual comic book style storytelling, but also there's prose in there, and it's all the Marvel UK Hulk stuff that reprinted. I'd love to see that done with the G.I. Joe stuff.
Yeah, I mean, obviously different rights are held with the Ladybird published, stories.
Sure,
they're they don't meld into the Marvel UK.
I'm not saying there wouldn't have to be deal struck.
Sure.
I'm just saying you could. I mean, what's Ladybird doing? Sitting on the hot rights for a old storytelling book. You know what I mean? Like you could approach them and be like, oh, here you go. Here's a couple bucks.
Yeah, I wonder if they're still in business.
Is Ladybird even in business?
I don't know. Or is it a salon in London now? Like the former Marvel UK offices are.
So that's where I'm coming from. We need to reprint this. We need to get a proper release of G.I. Joe Extreme. We need to unearth the history of G.I. Joe is what we need to do.
Absolutely.
That's what the show is dedicated to.
And the other great thing about these 2 issues real quick is they each have a profile. So this first one has a Snake Eyes profile, and then the second one has the Storm Shadow profile, intelligence profile. So you
that's great. Yeah. Very cool. And it looks like we're reprinting in these issues I forget what issues numbers, but it's when Softmaster is about to get blowed up in Springfield real good.
Yeah, so reprints of G.I. Joe number 42.
42 okay.
is the reprinted material.
Awesome.
But anyway, finally kicking off Law of the Jungle.
Law of the Jungle.
Part 1.
Part 1. So we open with a satellite, very satellite downish, getting struck by meteorites 23,000 miles above the Earth. In the midst of a meteor storm, and it crashes in deep within the jungles of the Asian subcontinent. Do we say exactly where that is then?
No.
I think it's maybe like Nepal or something.
Mm-hmm.
Does Nepal have jungles? They feel like it does, right? Yeah. Or it could be like Vietnam or something like that. Either way, it's the Asian subcontinent. And there's a little monkey hanging on the tree. who's watching this happen. And then Cobra intends to retrieve it from there. We get two very nicely rendered Stinger missiles, or Stinger Jeeps.
Yeah.
Traveling through the jungle. What am I looking? Oh, no, it's a little, sorry. My eyes were playing tricks on me. I thought those were drones. You see that? Those little like mushrooms?
Like the mushrooms? Yeah.
Yeah, I really thought they were drones. I'm like, did they predict drones? Yeah, no, those were mushrooms. So we got Storm Shadow riding with like a Cobra officer, Cobra trooper. He's in charge of the expedition. They come across the satellite. The natives have not yet drawn a funny face on it. And Storm Shadow cannot reach Stinger 2. So the driver says, do you think? Says, I will investigate. So you see the Storm Shadow? See how slender he is?
Oh, yeah.
That's a good example of like in that and in this the third panel and in the sixth panel too. Just a very Mark Farmer just does a very slender, very fluid Storm Shadow. Crawls to the jungle. He's seeking and he sees that Stinger 2 has been destroyed.
Yeah, taken out of commission.
Yeah,
Smoldering.
Now, I enjoy this, but we're doing what we're doing, so let's nitpick it. Let's break it down.
Sure.
He wouldn't have heard that thing blow up.
Right.
Because smoldering implies something exploded.
Yeah.
Or lit on fire or something like that. I get it. Snake Eyes is a ninja, but even a ninja can't silence an explosion.
True.
Is my point.
True.
If he just found them dead slumped over their seats with like blood everywhere, different conversation.
Yeah.
There is smoke and flame and various... And the final. Oh no!
Yeah. Well, maybe
Well,
Snake
wait,
Eyes.
is that final panel? That's his Jeep, or the Stinger 2 Jeep?
Stinger 2. So he's
final
gone to
panel
investigate. Yeah. So this is Storm Shadow.
The final panel is Stinger 2 because he hears the Braka Braka, which is Snake Eyes' Uzi, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But I guess I assumed that was Snake Eyes killing the Stinger 1 driver.
Oh, you're right.
So, and then we see the storytelling wise, we then see the back of Storm Shadow.
Yeah.
Meaning that he's now, from where the camera, from our perspective, he's now retreated in motion to where he came from. So now he's looking at his original Jeep. The problem with that is there was only one other guy in the Jeep. Why are there 2 dead bodies there? And maybe there was a third in the back we didn't see, but we only saw 1 dead body, but now there's 2. Whereas Stinger 2 did have 2 bad guys.
You're absolutely right. I guess I just saw because 2 bodies lying in front of the Jeep in the 2 panels. I thought it was the same, but you're right. He's investigating one and then hears something, turns around and the other same thing has happened to the other one.
So a little confusing.
But obviously there's no troopers going forward, so both
so everyone's dead. Snake has murdered everyone. Which I'm here for, but a little confusing as far as like placing and following the action. Then we get a great, he does Mark Farmer, man. He draws a great Snake Eyes.
Yeah,
this is a commission time, everyone. You need to reach out to Mark Farmer and get a Snake Eyes commission because dope, just dope. And Snake Eyes has the little red box. The what do they call those? Well, in this, it contains the records that were transmitted by the satellite, but with a little black box. Black box.
Yeah, black box.
An indestructible thing that survives all the crashes.
The black box.
Yeah, the black box. A brief recap. And you know what? This is all we need. There were once brothers in action. There were once brothers in arms, ninjas, friends. I like that. Ninjas, friends.
There's a poster.
Yeah. It's a poster.
It's great.
It's the Mike Zeck cover of them busting through the door, and it just says "Brothers in Arms, Ninjas, Friends."
I love it.
Oh yeah, but now they serve different masters. That's fabulous.
Yeah,
storytelling wise, you nailed it. You guys gave us exactly all any new reader would need to know about this. And if you're a new reader, you got the bad guy in white and the good guy in black, which is obviously they didn't create that in Action Force, but like it's just anytime I see them square off, I love that.
Yeah.
Because that's the guy that's not the guy you're supposed to be rooting for. Give me the box. If you do not, I shall kill you for it. Pretty hardcore, especially for a ninja, friend. And Snake Eyes, as always, is pretty taciturn. So they start a fight, and we get a lot of good kung fu action. Can we give it up for this final panel as they draw their swords? They're parallel in the drawing. They're parallel to each other. They both glint in unison because they're glinting at the same lights. Like, this is a really well crafted panel. They glint because they're both reflecting off the same light source, assuming the sun. And you get the detail of Snake Eyes' wrist dart. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so much to like in this just one simple panel. It's fabulous.
Really well done.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm saying this too. I like this version of, I mean, Snake Eyes' visor is so weird, you know, like conceptually. It's just weird. Yeah. Like it looks great, but it's just when you try to really make it real, it's always like questionable. How do you do it? Is it 100% see-through but reflective? Is it truly metal with little slits? And why would he, you know, narrow his vision like that? You know, whatever it is, all those questions. But I like this where he draws it like it's like a metal box on his head. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, he really puts it where the part that's on the forehead, I guess the head touching part is really, really round, but it's just a big triangle that juts out to the front like I don't know. I like it, and it's because it's weird.
Yeah. I mean, it's yeah. If Geordie LaForge can work in Star Trek with his visor, it's
his visor's because he's blind.
Sure,
that's what gives him sight.
Yeah.
How dare you?
I know.
How dare you?
Well, this is the medieval version of that.
No, I'm here. Yeah, no, I'm looking past the can he actually see stuff. I just, because sometimes an artist will fudge it and they'll make the whole thing kind of rounded to his face.
Yeah.
In this case, he's doing like this diagonal triangle out front, which is great.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
awesome.
it's to me, it's a knight in shining armor. It's
oh right, that's what you're saying. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I totally see that. And then we get really nice kung fu choreography. This is very much the Master of Kung Fu stuff.
Yeah,
how they would draw that stuff with Doug Menk and Galassi. How Galassi would draw his master. That had to be an influence on this little adventure here.
I love this bit where Storm Shadow's slamming him to the ground, in the white background, and this fight that rages on for some time.
This is the alley fight, and they live.
Yeah,
because they're really going at it, man. Like he's punching him, he's holding him down, punch him in the face. Snake Eyes comes back with like a two-handed chop to the side of the head, like almost breaks his neck. Like this is honestly one of the better Snake Eyes Storm Shadow fights I've ever seen.
Yeah,
this is great,
and it does go on for. I mean, you could communicate this same idea in fewer panels, right, or fewer actions, but I love it.
14 panels. Mm-hmm. In one page, we have 14 movements of action.
Yeah,
and there's 2 more panels on the page. It's just they don't feature Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow.
Yeah,
that's really awesome. Like, I love that. That is fabulous. And you can follow this fight, whereas we said it earlier with the exploding stinger, kind of couldn't follow what was what. You totally follow what's happening here. It's great. So they're going at it, and they get to the end, and then just the captions basically say that they're so focused on each other, they don't see what's in the jungle, but the jungle does see them.
I love the with this box in the foreground and in the distant background and silhouette, almost like it's the perspective of what's lurking.
Mm-hmm.
Just really cool.
So it's interesting. So that's reminding us why they're fighting for the MacGuffin. Mm-hmm. But that's not why they're fighting.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's I like that little interruption because it's saying it's almost forgotten. Mm-hmm. They're not trying to get that. They're not all clasping for the Ark of the Covenant. They're not trying to grab the Grail as it falls into the pit. And this is, oh no, the thing they're fighting about is sitting over here, and they're ignoring it entirely. No one's trying to get away with it. They don't care about that right now. It is just the two of them going at it. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
that's a really good observation, Mike. Mm-hmm. Nice eye. Yeah, and then this giant tiger really, absolutely could be the inspiration for the Tiger Force logo. Totally. The way they draw this tiger, because this is not drawn. This is drawn like a monster tiger.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
it's a kaiju tiger.
Full on like prehistoric
Yes.
saber-toothed tiger
Yes.
action. And
Really
so despite them fighting for all of their own reasons, they get interrupted.
Yeah, and that tiger comes at Snake Eyes, puts his right into Snake Eyes' left forearm, like
Chomp.
sinks it deep.
Oh yeah.
Or no, is it right? It's his right arm. Right
No,
arm?
his left.
Left, is it his left?
It's his left.
Yeah, yeah. He really sinks it deep, man. Like, that's a good one. And Storm Shadow takes the opportunity to go, all right, you deal with the tiger. I got to go.
Yeah. So now he picks up the
Yeah.
box.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he's like, well, I guess we can't keep fighting. So
What am I going to do? Fight that guy?
yeah.
That's the law of the jungle, as the story says.
Great.
That's great. That's a lot in
Yeah.
5 pages.
yeah.
It's
yeah.
so good.
I mean, and that's, as you talk about catching up someone who's not familiar with the story, like to do all of that in 5 pages is, efficient storytelling.
Very much so. Very, very, very much so. Oh, and listeners, if you're reading along, you can always find this stuff at the Blood for the Baron website, which is where I'm reading it. If you don't have the the benefit of having all the issues like we do with Michael here, go to Blood for the Baron, and they have all of these PDFs waiting for you to read. What you got there?
Oh, I was just we were talking about the Telltale. It was just an ad.
Oh yeah, that's great.
On the back of issue 40 for the Ladybird books with the cassettes.
Yeah,
and
I'll bet you
where you can find them.
Didn't? Oh, you know what? I'll bet you we could find this stuff on YouTube, the audio of it.
Yeah,
Someone's probably uploaded it, just like that Action Force soundtrack, that we found too.
Mm-hmm.
So it jumps right into Law of the Jungle Part 2, and there are panels in this. Not to get too risque, this is a family-friendly show. That you remember when the movie the Bear with Leonardo DiCaprio came? The Bear, was it called? The Bear? Not the Bear.
The Revenant.
Revenant.
Yeah.
When the jokes were that the Revenant the Bear was having his way with Leo.
Yeah.
There are some panels in this that are quite suggestive for Mr. Snake Eyes.
It's true.
This demon tiger, and he is really drawn like a demon tiger, is really having his way with Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes is not having his best day. Deep within the Asian jungle, he'd fought his opposite. Then along came a tiger. Snake Eyes is going to die. He's straight up going for his Uzi. He's trying to reach his Uzi because he's just like, I got to kill this demon tiger. It's like that tiger, the lion in that movie with Idris Elba.
Yeah.
Where that big old lion was chasing him. That's what this is. Or the Lion and the Hunter movie. Remember that one? That's what this is.
Yeah. This is nature.
Yeah.
Taking back, fighting
And
back.
then we get a really nice, well done flashback pages that work so well to put us in Storm Shadow's mind. Because remember, Storm Shadow saw what was going on and was like, I'm out. And as he's running through the jungle, we get these flashbacks. And these are, I believe, redrawn, but absolutely redrawn from the original images from the Snake Eyes origin issues.
Yeah.
Of their history together. So what we got in a caption in the first issue, which was, they were brothers in arms, they were ninjas, they were friends. We see played out here through reimagined images from the G.I. Joe the American comics.
Mm-hmm.
The two of them in their LRRP.
The common thread
Squadron
being
in Vietnam.
the jungle.
The jungle, yeah.
Playing on the jungle.
Like the jungle he and Snake Eyes had fought in before. Before the masks, which is a double entendre there, because we know the Snake Eyes or Storm Shadow's playing, he's wearing a mask being part of Cobra.
Yeah.
He just wants to find out who killed his uncle. For his uncle Hardmaster had been killed, and Storm Shadow had gone undercover in the Cobra to discover the killer.
Great panel of the Hardmaster getting killed too.
Yeah.
I mean, the expression is gnarly.
The jungle brought back memories. He did not want them. He did not want these memories. He did not want to remember saving Snake Eyes' life in that jungle long ago. It's funny though, like that memory is like, yeah, you saved his life. It's not like he saved yours. You don't know him anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, using that as the memory to flip it, like, yeah, I saved him once before. Now look what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's trying to slow my roll.
Yeah, but he's thinking,
Oh,
well,
I
why
know.
did I save him
Yes,
before? He
exactly.
was
Why
worth
then?
something.
Right, exactly.
I guess he's still worth something today.
I get it. And
I love the sweat here too.
the sweat is great. The blood on the leaves, and what's nice is this blood, I believe, is indicative for us that he has now turned around and coming back, because why else would there be blood on the leaves? But it's the blood from where Snake Eyes is getting tore up.
Yeah, yeah. And this, oh my God, this scalp wound.
Snake Eyes' scalp is messed up.
Near getting scalped.
Yes.
He dances with wolf style.
He's not doing well. He's not doing well.
No.
And then we get this to the next page. That's the full Revenant panel right there.
That's awesome.
It's
I love the silhouette of Storm Shadow.
The silhouette of Storm Shadow is great. Snake Eyes, I don't know what's happening here, to be fair, both to the drawing and to our jokes.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. His arms super foreshortened. He looks like he's in the ground, but he also's like you know what I'm saying? He looks like he's in a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
But he's probably not.
Yeah, it's tough because the shadow under the tiger.
Yeah, the shadow and the tiger. The tiger's mounting him. It works. I'll say this. It works really well because of that Storm Shadow silhouette.
Yes.
When you really kind of dig into this panel, you go, "What is happening? What is going? What have we drawn here?"
Yeah.
It.
Thankfully,
yeah, I wonder if and maybe this is just me, because everything else is honestly so capably drawn.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's a redraw. I wonder if he drew a more dead Snake Eyes, like a different, or Snake Eyes in a different pose, and they were like, "We need you to redo have him look up, look back." You know what I mean? Something like he can't look dead.
Maybe the eye wasn't being drawn to Storm Shadow so much, so they had to reorient. So both Snake Eyes and the tiger are looking.
There's just something weird about the way Snake Eyes, everything's off about his body in that photo. You know what I mean? Like, look how small his shoulder is.
Yeah.
There's something weird about that, and I do wonder if that was them asking him to do a touch up.
The next panel, though,
because the Storm Shadow part is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, all that is great, and even the movement on the movement on these figures works too. You know, like everyone's like with the tiger's eye to Storm Shadow. The eyes, and you see the fact that they kept the white of Storm Shadow's eyes in there so they connect to the tiger is awesome. Like, there's a lot to like about this. And then the Snake Eyes is weird.
And this Snake Eyes will not die here today panel.
No, that is brutal.
Storm Shadow takes his sword and
right through the cabeza.
Yeah.
Right through, plunges his sword into the skull of this angry tiger. That is an angry ass tiger. And I'm going to say this. Hey, Cheryl. I'm going to say this. Shirley Fiend she's getting very upset about the death of this tiger. I think they both are upset about having to kill that animal.
Yeah.
You see that panel?
Yeah.
Like, they're not happy.
Even though Snake Eyes, he's probably getting a little lightheaded here.
Snake Eyes has serious head trauma.
There's so much blood.
Serious head trauma.
Oh my gosh. But then not 2 panels later, so I don't know. Maybe he's got some Logan-esque healing properties.
Yeah, well, his suit healed. Yeah. Somehow.
He just put a new hood on.
Yeah, that's totally what it is.
Covered it up.
Totally what it is. But in the panel where he's silhouetted, you see the blood dripping off him, though. That's pretty
even
great.
Look at the top of his head in that silhouette. He's got like
gnarly. It is gnarly.
Hair or a chunk of scalp.
Well, let's go to the final page. It is redrawn. I mean, it's shown in the final page. They didn't shy from it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's like you don't see the flesh of it, but you see that there's gouges ripped out of his skull.
Yeah.
Which kind of all adds to how great is Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
Snake Eyes can take that.
If he wasn't scarred before, he is
right?
now.
He certainly is now. So Snake Eyes knows what Storm Shadow did for him. So he pulls one of his little thermite grenades out, which Storm Shadow's a little like, "What are you doing? Like, are we gonna die?" And Snake Eyes attaches it to the that little black box, and they throw it into the jungle, and it explodes. A fine solution, but what do we say to our masters? And Snake Eyes says, or Storm Shadow says, of course. Do we understand why? Like,
what is on that piece of paper?
I don't know.
So
I like that he's reading Snake Eyes' body language.
Right.
But it doesn't translate super well, I think, in this panel.
Yeah. I feel like, because we're going to see in the future. Oh, here. That's exactly what they're doing. So this has the.
Oh, he's handing them. Right, that's what he's doing.
Yep. Let's continue the.
Yeah, so we'll continue the story.
The art. What?
Well,
Something about this printed page, at least in my physical copy, it's like this is very glossy and shiny, and then this is a bit more dull on the last page.
Interesting.
So at first I wasn't sure.
Same paper?
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, yeah, and what it is Snake Eyes in that panel, Snake Eyes is holding 2 pieces of shrapnel from the satellite.
Oh.
And so that's what we get
That's
here.
what it is.
So in the next page, Storm Shadow hands 1 piece of shrapnel to Cobra Commander, and Snake Eyes hands the other one to his boss. What's his name? Trent.
Yeah.
And he hands it to Trent with his arms all wrapped up. Which is amazing.
Yeah.
And he hands it to Trent. Basically, they both say everything was completely destroyed.
Yeah.
So that's good. So that makes sense.
What do we say?
That makes that
hand
panel,
the shrapnel to your boss.
Yeah, that makes that panel make sense.
Yeah. It was destroyed.
I will say this though, that black box isn't the whole idea of it that it wouldn't be destroyed. So even putting a grenade on it, shouldn't that not destroy it?
Yeah.
Isn't that the whole point of the black box? Like it survived coming from outer space.
It's the idea.
So how would a grenade blow it up? Better. No, I don't even know. You throw it in the ocean. There's a transponder on it. That's how they found it in the first place. So I don't know. How do you destroy a black box?
Well, it can't be.
I like it. I mean,
it can't be totally indestructible. I think
I think
it's designed to be, in a place, and it's put in a place upon impact. Like the satellite would take the impact. But,
yeah, you're right.
It would be buffered somehow. But
That's
I think if you put a grenade directly on it,
that's a good point.
Probably take it
and
out.
we saw that the satellite was kind of intact.
Yeah.
Very good point. Okay, nitpicked.
There you go.
Nitpicked. But I love the resolution though. I really do. It's great. His story's great.
Yeah.
Artwork's dynamite.
And Cobra Commander is obviously doubting. He's saying, completely destroyed, you say?
Yeah.
All, so, not totally buying it, but what's he going to do?
Yeah, that's what I always love about this stuff. A lot of times when Cobra Commander's dealing with one of his people being like lying to him, he's dealing with vipers, and dangerous men.
Yeah.
So he can't go too far in accusing them of lying because like Storm Shadow, what's he gonna do? Storm Shadow would murder him. So he kind of has to go, okay,
So
yep.
I know we've touched on it several times, but I guess we'll just wrap out these Ladybird books with these cassettes. There is a contest here in this issue. 50 sets of Action Force Telltale packs must be won. And essentially how to enter, pictured here are the silhouette of 3 Action Force characters engaged in conversation. All you have to do is work out from what each character is saying, exactly who they are. For instance, if you think that character A is barbecue, then write A barbecue. Once you think you've identified all 3 characters, then simply jot your answers down on the back of a postcard and post it to the Telltale competition, 23 Redden Place, London. All entries must be received by Thursday, 24th of December. And the first 50 correct entries pulled out of the mailing after the date will each receive copies of Pickwick's 2 Telltale packs.
What are the captions?
And so the 3 captions, we have A, B, and C, 3 silhouettes, and you can kind of tell by the silhouette who they are.
Yeah.
But the first one is, hey, what happened to the lights? I can't even work out who I am. Still, worse things happen at sea. So which character is
the shipwreck?
Yeah.
So
A would have been shipwreck, and then
well,
B.
Say B for last.
Yeah. Okay. So C is I don't know who roped us into doing this, but if we're not let out soon, I'll climb out by myself. So you can tell by his hat. That's one of my favorite characters.
Cutter?
No, so...
Oh, Alpine.
Alpine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we sure that's shipwreck in the first one?
Yes.
Is that what does it? Yeah? Are you sure?
Because you can see... Yeah. Absolutely. As one of my favorite characters.
Oh, I love shipwreck.
I know a shipwreck silhouette.
I don't see the silhouette.
Well, he's facing you, so you don't see his nose.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
The hat, the sailor's hat, is pretty...
Can't even work out who I am. Still worse thing. Yeah, I mean, I got... Yeah.
But yeah, no,
and then the middle
one is so great.
I said the middle one's great. I said save it for last because it's the banger.
Yeah,
it is
because there's the dialogue bubble,
empty dialogue balloon
with nothing in it. So yeah, identify the silent one.
Yeah, and a sword off his back.
And the visor.
Yeah.
So no, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, I the contests continue is the point.
Oh, Shirley's very. I got opinions on my lack of ability to identify shipwreck. Shirley's like, how dare you, Dad? You bring shame to me.
She is not the silent one.
No, she is not the silent one. Although Shirley's got poly spirit. She's got poly energy. I'm just going to put that out there. Shirley 100% has poly energy.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's so great.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. These stories were obviously popular enough in the UK that they were reprinted in the Transformers comic that was being published after this. Issues 250 or 246 and 247. They reprinted these later on.
They're really good. So we go moving to the next issue. It's issue 43. And it's a holiday issue insofar as it takes place in the snow. And on Christmas Eve.
And the title on the cover is Sleigh Ride.
Sleigh Ride, and it's not spelled EIGH.
No.
It's spelled AY, as in sleigh. And it's fun though because they have not only do they have, I believe that's Footloose on the Polar Battle Bear.
Yep.
But they also have, it's a split screen cover that shares with, what's this guy's name again?
So Combat Colin is it's a strip in the back of all these Action Force comics that
silly little like Beetle Bailey-esque,
written by Lou Stringer and very comedic.
And he's in a similar, like his version of what a Polar Battle Bear sleigh would be. That's really kind of funny.
Yeah, that's Combat Colin and his sidekick, Semi-Automatic Steve. So if you really want a deep dive, someone can do a podcast.
But listen, I'm here for any time when anyone wants to bring the Polar Battle Bear into play.
Absolutely.
One of my all-time favorite toys, like it was my first actual vehicle I ever got for G.I. Joe. It was a great vehicle. Had the compartment, removable compartment, missiles, guns. The guns moved, right?
Yeah,
they moved
the front.
with the skis.
The skis would pivot.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Guns. You had the handlebars for someone to hang on to, and two people could hang on in the back. I love the Polar Battle Bear, and I don't think it ever gets enough love. Like the fact that we haven't seen one made in classified yet, people aren't even talking about it yet, is a shame.
Yeah,
people are like, no, let's go right to the what's the one that Frostbite drove, the
Snowcat.
Snowcat. Yeah, they're like, let's go to the Snowcat. No. Do you realize how great a Polar Battle Bear for the 6-inch classified line would be?
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Yeah,
and like you, yeah, it would just be great. And they could totally sell it at the same price point as the Stingers.
Mm-hmm.
Same box size, all that. A Polar Battle Bear would be amazing.
Yeah, and I feel like being from Wisconsin, I hate to admit this, but I've actually never been on a snowmobile, and they look like so much fun.
They do,
and so that's why this vehicle, as a kid, I was like,
they totally look. I don't think I've ever been on a proper one. No, I never have.
But you're wind blowing in the hair as you're flying over the snow on a tracked vehicle,
breaking your neck.
There's that too.
Well, I mean. Die Hard 2, great snowmobile chase. There was some in the Bond movies. What I feel like there's a major. Maybe I just keep thinking of the Die Hard 2 one. The Die Hard 2 one's great.
Yeah,
but there's been a lot of snowmobile like adventures.
Oh yeah,
like they operate in this. In the Fast and Furious movies.
Oh sure.
They're in the one where they go to Russia.
Mm-hmm.
I think I forget who's driving it, but it's like a car, but it's a snowmobile.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's awesome. It's a real close version to the Snowcat is what it looks like with the treaded wheels and everything. Yeah.
I really love what they did with the logo on this issue. Just the snowpack on the Action Force, how it's.
I'll credit Richard Starkings for that. Because that's a great idea.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a Christmas winter issue. They're in the snow. Let's put snow on the logo. I love good logo play.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yeah,
I'm here for it. So we got the issue with Silent Night. The artist is it still Mark Farmer?
No. So this is actually Jeff Anderson and Simon
Cowell.
Colby.
Oh, close.
Colby.
Close. Simon Colby. Okay.
Simon Colby.
Well, I think they did a yeoman's work. I think they did a fine job.
Mm-hmm. And the story inside, written by Steve White, and then the penciler is a new artist, Dougie Braithwaite.
Oh, wait a minute.
So I was just talking about the cover.
You were talking about the cover.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was into the end.
Sorry.
Doug Braithwaite did. I love Doug Braithwaite. Do you know Doug Braithwaite's work?
No.
Oh, Doug Braithwaite is fabulous.
Okay.
Now that you're saying that, now I'm looking at this going, okay, I can see Doug Braithwaite in here.
Okay.
Doug Braithwaite is fabulous. He's done a lot of work with, of late, he's done a lot of stuff with Alex Ross.
Oh.
He did the pencils for those Earth X books. And then Ross, I believe, did the colors on them or something like that. But it was, it was Ross, Kruger, and Braithwaite, because Ross didn't do the interiors for those Earth X stuff. Braithwaite did them. But he's done a lot of stuff recently. And he worked a lot on the Valiant, those Valiant books from like 4 or 5 years back.
Okay.
I love Doug Braithwaite's stuff. His stuff's awesome. So yeah, I see that now. Glad I said good things about this.
Very cool.
Because I love Doug Braithwaite. Didn't realize this was him.
What I love about this story too, so they had teased earlier that, Frostbite was going to make an appearance near Christmas.
Yeah.
And prior to this, in the Action Force, weekly issues, the reprints of the G.I. Joe story, they kept calling Snow Job, Frostbite by mistake.
Oh, right.
And so I was like, are we actually going to see Frostbite? And we do actually see the real Frostbite.
Which is funny, because then with this being Footloose,
kind of looks like Snow Job.
it looks like Snow Job.
I know.
Just make this Snow Job. How about an adventure of two people in the same location that they're supposed to be specialists at? Why are we getting Footloose? Who's some kind of Footloose is like a jungle/desert specialist, right? Based on everything I know about him.
But he's for Action Force readers, he's a main character.
He is a main character. So you're right. No, you're right. But give me Snow Job. Oh, that's great. Yeah,
and because the readers might be asking who's Snow Job, because again,
right, that is true. Yeah,
they kept calling Snow Job Frostbite.
Right, that's true.
So now they're really confused because this Frostbite has different hair color. But anyway,
so Christmas Eve, they're 60 miles inside of the Norwegian Arctic Circle.
Yeah, that's cool.
I've been there. Not 60 miles, I believe, but I've been in Norway above the Arctic Circle, and it is that snowy and it is that cold.
Yeah,
and on Christmas Eve, it would also have been dark as F.
Yeah.
They, at that time of year, which is absolutely when I was there, I spent two weeks there.
Like 20 minutes of daylight, maybe.
It's like an hour and a half,
wow.
2 hours, something like that. Like it's under 4 hours for sure.
Yeah.
And for me, it was really hard to get over my jet lag because of it. Like you get there and there's no normal hours to then sink yourself out of it. So like you wake up in the middle of the day and it's dark as night, and it's really hard to get over the jet lag. For me, that was also my first time traveling like that anywhere. So but you understand why these people are depressed. Like it's so lovely, but they do have a higher rate of, I believe, suicide.
Yeah.
Because and just general depression, because it's crazy. But you live your life though. Like you go fishing. Mm-hmm. It's 10 in the morning, but it's dark as midnight. And you're out there, you're fishing, you're doing your thing, you're going to the store, and it's just lights are on all the time. Your headlights are on your cars all the time because it is dark and snowy. But lovely people, lovely time, very welcoming. I had hair back then, so I had blonde hair and 6'3". So they all thought I spoke Norwegian. I do not.
Yeah.
I do not. It was awkward at times because you get people walking up to you.
Sure.
Dropping, just saying complete sentences and watching you go, I got nothing.
Yeah. Shout out to, I mentioned my brother earlier, to my brother Matt. He lived in Barrow, Alaska for several years. And so he could speak to, the effects of living in, an environment where, it can get really dark and depressing in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And so needless to say, after a couple of years was ready to come back south.
We were in a town called, it's one of the bigger. It's one of the northernmost big cities in the world. Literally northernmost big city. It's called Tromsø. That's the city.
Yep.
And in that city, there was a Burger King or McDonald's? This is 25 years ago, so bear with me. But either way, whatever one it was advertised as the northernmost in the world.
Yeah.
So the most, the highest nearest stores in the world. So that was kind of fun. And then there was a comic shop in the city too. So I put two and two together, and I'm like, well, if that's the northernmost Burger King or McDonald's or whatever, this has got to be the northernmost comic book shop. I can't imagine there being a dedicated comic shop more north than this.
Sure.
So like I was super stoked. I'm like, I've been in the northernmost comic book shop in the world.
Preserved in ice.
Yeah.
You can find issues preserved in ice.
Totally. Yeah. No, I bought
Bring your ice pick and you can take one off the shelf.
Yeah. So I bought a few issues. Do I have a foreign G.I. Joe? I feel like I do, but I don't know if I got it on that trip.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. But yeah, so I got a few issues there. But it was neat. Yeah. Tromsø, if you ever get a chance, travelers, Tromsø is like you think Norway, you think like Oslo, stuff like that. Tromsø is really, really great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been?
No, but my wife and I went to Scandinavia, every country but Norway, because it was during the pandemic and they wouldn't let us in.
Oh.
But no, we only got as far. It was all southern.
Yeah.
Stockholm was. We did southern Scandinavia, but I wanted to desperately get up north.
Yeah.
I want to go to Hoth. Joe.
Oh yeah, totally, yeah.
And then north of there.
Well, they like their bay is like you. I do think you can actually see Russia from there.
Wow.
Like not the see Russia from my house.
Sure.
Sarah Palin stuff. I think you actually can. Like it's right across from Russia. But the fish is amazing. Like it's really neat. Yeah, it's really neat. But dark.
Yeah.
Not bright. So that's where we find ourselves this Christmas Eve. We've got some, these are the ferrets. Yeah, ferrets were cool.
Silent Night is the story.
Snow serpents, they're after our heads, Footloose. They must be. This base has been derelict for 2 years. There's nothing but concrete and caribou. So why do we think they're attacking them? Just to attack?
Yeah, their presence is enough to...
Yeah, it's just enough to set off the like Cobra's like, we own this town.
Yeah.
Above the Arctic. Well, we saw that in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's where their base was. You come above the Arctic Circle, you're in Cobraville.
It's too bad the Cobra Wolf hadn't been released to the world yet, because that would have... I mean, these ferrets are definitely all-terrain.
Yeah,
because it's like...
for sure. The Cobra Wolf would have been cool here.
It's the only Cobra snow vehicle is an ATV. But,
yeah. That would have been very cool. So there, it's just a big firefight. They're escaping. They jump into a giant garage. And the snow serpent yells, "You only prolong your lives by a matter of seconds. Your chances of survival are as low as the temperature." I like that he's shouting this across a battlefield.
Yeah.
In movie, he's on a ferret, so I'm assuming he's moving at the time. And that's when they erupt.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and they erupt, and here we come with the snowcat. Snowcat makes his appearance.
How amazing is it, though, that the snowcat's canopy is it open? No,
it's just it's open. Well,
it's drawn. Okay, so it sort of looks like it's open, but also if you look, it looks like it's closed, but frostbite is drawn above it, because I saw that as the missile.
It's what you're seeing. That's the hood of the missile launcher. There's no cockpit on this, because look at the next page.
Oh, yeah.
Look at the next page. There is no cockpit on it.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. So there's no canopy at all.
There's no canopy.
It's not just open. I mean, it's open air, but
this is the cross country Havoc style cockpit. Open. It's the era of open cockpits. It's
got it. Which is unusual, because they've done such a good job of rendering vehicles and characters like very accurate to the toys.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting.
Well, it's also, speaking of that, there's also this weird circle in the front of the Battle Bear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that was on the Battle Bear. I think that's where, isn't that where a G.I. Joe logo was?
Yeah.
So maybe they feel like they have to draw something there.
Huh.
You know, like I think it was like the U.S. I do believe it was actually a flag, like a U.S. flag, stars and bars thing. So maybe they feel like they had to put something in place of it, because that's on the cover too. I noticed it, and I wonder what was going on there.
Well,
so it's not super toy accurate,
right? And I guess for those who, you were saying, Polar Battle Bear versus the Snowcat. Well, here, now we've got them both.
Yeah, and the Snowcat gets taken out first.
Yeah.
He gets hit by a missile from one of the ferrets. I do like that, like in this one panel up top, that one.
Yeah.
As they're driving past, they're waving bye to a cobra,
Snow serpent.
snow serpent. Yeah, who's just in the snow dying.
Yep.
They're like, sayonara, dude. But as they get away, or as they're trying to get away, that's when the snowcat does get blowed up real good. Mm-hmm. So Footloose rolls back, brings Frostbite out. Frostbite might be dead.
Didn't last long.
No,
for his
didn't
introduction.
last long. Yeah. He's administering some CPR, checking his pulse. As the ferret comes back to get him, he's going to give that creep a present I'll never forget. And man, we get a unloading. Eat this, and he's not shooting bullets at him. He's firing that
Grenade launcher.
under barrel grenade launcher. It's very much this looks like the kind of gun that the rifle that Leatherneck used.
Yeah,
very much that.
Exactly.
And bammo, grenade. It falls short, but the explosion opens up the ice to reveal the freezing depths of an ice-covered lake, which kind of makes it more sinister because,
Yeah.
is Footloose going to let this guy die in the cold? He could just let him die. Look what he did to his friend, but that would make him nothing more than a cold-blooded murderer. Is that why I joined Action Force? To act outside the law, to play God? No, it's not. Take this rope, dude. He says, why did you save me? And he pulls him out of the thing. Meanwhile, Frostbite's over here bleeding out. But he's saving this guy. Well, that's what it's like when you're one of the good guys. You try to kill me, and you're badly wounded, and a good friend of mine, and you badly wounded a good friend of mine. Maybe I should have let you freeze or drown, but it's Christmas, Theo. It's a time for miracles. So much later, they're all hanging out by the fire.
And out come the fudgy bars.
The fudgy bars.
Not quite, but
yeah, MREs, turkey stuffing, and Brussels sprouts. Eat up. There's a few bars of plum pudding to follow. So they end up sharing a Christmas meal with this snow serpent. I don't know how I feel about this story.
yeah,
It's the predictable morality of it, which is fine. I'm fine with that. That's what these Christmas stories are all about, right? We
Sure.
get that in all of these. You've seen variations of this all the time. They find, based on, I think, true stuff. World War II.
Yeah.
Or one. Was it 2 or 1? Where they played soccer
Yeah.
on Christmas Day. Like, let's stop fighting. And they actually celebrated Christmas.
Right.
Okay. I'm here for that. But the setup here is a little weird.
Yeah.
Frostbite's literally dying. And you're going to leave him to rescue that snow serpent?
This is a story where I think, for the first time, 5 pages is not enough to tell this story.
Yes.
Really?
You're exactly correct.
So it's just, they're trying to do a lot in a short amount of time.
Enemy mine.
Yeah.
This is trying to be enemy mine. Right? It's trying to get that, we have to rely on each other to survive. Otherwise, we're all going to die together. But there's not enough pages to tell that story.
Yeah.
You're so right. Which is also, I think they knew this too, which is why in the beginning they go, why are they even attacking us? And we're like, I don't know. They couldn't even they had no room to even give a reason for the fight. It was just, we're going to fight. We got hurt.
Yeah.
I'm going to save you. And, I've never been a soldier, and I get that it's different. I mean, I conceptually, I get it. But I don't understand. It's always a tough pill to swallow in all these action movies, just thematically, when they're like, they're murdering everyone left and right. But then they get to this one guy, and you just tried to murder him. The whole reason he's in that ice is because you tried to murder him.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to save you. Or no, or he's like, no, I will save you. Like,
Yeah.
I can't go that. You did kill his buddy.
Yeah.
And
it's like the humanity switch gets flipped.
Yeah.
And it's very
and,
Jekyll and Hyde.
Right. And I get it. I don't want to sound like a psychopath here. Like, I get it, but I don't know. It's just a weird.
It's the ultimate compartmentalization of like an experience. It's like, it's like at one moment you have to dehumanize the enemy to condition yourself to do that.
Yeah.
On the other hand, at what point does the humanity switch flip back on? And you're okay. Set that over there, compartmentalize that, and now we're in this moment, and it's a different moment.
Yeah, it's the same.
I don't know how you do that.
Oh no! I think it's fascinating.
Brain breaking.
I think it's fascinating, and I do think it's worthy of discussion. Maybe not on the Joe and Joe podcast, but you see this in it's been a common complaint when you've watched Batman in live action films, right? Not to go down the Snyder cut route, but like in the Snyder movies, like Batman vs Superman, Batman's murdering fools.
Sure.
Like he's got machine guns on the Batmobile. He's shooting people. Back in the Burton movies, he had guns on his cars and the Batwing and stuff. But then he's like, I don't use guns. Oh, but you're okay with shooting people in cars,
Sure.
or you're okay with, like in the Snyder one, he hooks the grappling hook on the one car full of bad guys and he rolls them around like a bowling ball. You know what I mean? Like it's a fun sequence. But then your brain goes, oh, he just murdered those 4 people. Like murdered them and knew that he was murdering them. Could have released, once he disabled the car, he could have released it. But he didn't. And he kept murdering those people. And then you get to a scene later when he's like, I can't kill this guy. Batman doesn't kill.
Yeah.
And there's this disconnect. And where it's like it's like if the adrenaline is high enough and the scale is large enough, any of these characters can kill or fill in the blank, whatever moral thing they're against.
Sure.
But when it gets to the personal thing, you have to show them, well, no, I can't do it. But you just did it. But no, I didn't really do it. I was doing it in service of a greater cause. It's a fascinating moral conundrum for all these stories. Not just G.I. Joe.
Sure, they didn't do it here, but I feel like just an opportunity to have that change is, these snow serpents are all masked, Cobra characters, like so many are. But if the helmet had come off or the mask had come off, and as I see them sitting around the fire at the end, like if the snow serpent looked more like the 2 Joes here, or the 2 Action Force members here.
Yeah.
I
when
feel
he goes in the ice, he pops his face off and it's just like, help me.
Sure.
And then you get Footloose going like, yeah, of course I gotta help you. You're a human being. You know, like that would have been great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the line where the snow serpent says, why are you saving me? I would have let you drown or something.
Yeah.
They should have saved that for like around the fire. Not in the moment where he's being saved, because I feel like,
Yeah. Like, oh, really? Would you? Taste my boot.
Fine. Maybe I guess I was going to save you, but I guess if you really don't want it, I'll just let you. Yeah. Anyway.
And you know what though? I do think they drew handcuffs on him though. If you look closely by the fire, he's got what looks like a handcuff on his arm.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah. I mean, this is not generally this. I'm not saying all this to nitpick it. It really it's fascinating discussions.
Sure.
Because it's the same conversation that we had that Lady J had, of like, this dude's a terrorist. Why didn't you kill him? He will then kill everyone. Why doesn't Batman kill the Joker? Why is it this and that and the other?
It'd be fun to go. So Steve White, who wrote this, it'd be fun just to have a conversation with him.
Oh yeah,
about it.
No,
hey, if you could do this over again, would you? Or whatever.
Yeah, but yes, I'm actually saying this with I think it's a fun story. I do think that it's a lot to do in 5 pages.
Yeah,
but they did a fine job of it. I freaking love that it's Doug Braithwaite. That's great. But yeah, it is a conundrum because we've seen variations of this all throughout the years in all these comics, and it's never satisfying. It always, there's always a thing for me as a reader going, but it's the Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and consider the audience too, and the age range that they're writing for.
Completely.
But it's but how do you have this same conversation with an 8-year-old or a 12-year-old
well, with that in mind though,
it's just interesting.
Yeah, and space. I do think Space limited this, but with that in mind, I do think you have another page, and it is more enemy mine, whereas maybe they're around the fire, and then it is like you said, the Snow Serpent's got his mask off, and then they actually have a dialogue with him.
Sure.
It's like, well, why did you join? You go ahead and shackle him. He's a prisoner.
Yeah. But
why were you joining Cobra? Why were you attacking us? What did we do to you? Well, my bosses told me, or you know what I mean, or this or that, the other. And it's like, there is room for this in an expanded version.
Yeah.
And this is a fun, condensed holiday romp for the kids.
But in either case,
with a bloodied frostbite.
Yes. But regardless, offer him a fudgy bar.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I just, in the background, someone needs to Photoshop. Here's what we need to do. Someone needs to Photoshop pull the footage, pull Quick Kick from the episode when he's in the Arctic shooting the fudgy bars commercial. Shrink it, like make it real small, and then layer it on top of these PDFs on the Blood for the Baron website. So anyone reading it on Blood for the Baron in the background would see Quick Kick filming the fudgy commercial. And just do it. Don't tell anyone.
Yes.
Just quietly replace the PDFs. Don't say a word to anyone. If anyone from Blood for the Baron hears this, please do that. You would be our hero forever if you just quietly replace that. Because then people are like, this really took place concurrently with the filming of the fudgy bars?
Yeah, be great.
Oh my God.
So great.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Anyway.
By the way, in this issue, the reprint from G.I. Joe 43 has the darkest moment ever, where Scrap Iron kills the Softmaster and Candy and friends. They all don't fare well.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. So as we talk about the gravity of all of this, it's
I think it's a good time also to bring up. This has been mentioned. I know that we've talked about this on the show before. Scrap Iron doesn't get enough either blame or credit.
Yeah.
He's the one who killed the Softmaster.
Yeah.
Scrap Iron.
Yeah.
No one talks about Scrap Iron. It wasn't Zartan. It wasn't Snake Eyes. It was, you know what I mean? It wasn't one of the big players in the Arishikage drama. It wasn't Firefly.
No.
It was straight up Scrap Iron that everyone forgets about. No one celebrates Scrap Iron.
And he was like Destro's original Mars designer.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved Scrap Iron.
Yeah.
You know what I think? I think if his missile launcher had wheels, it wasn't just like a squat, sit there and think, because then it makes you play wise. It grounds you versus, it was stuff on wheels can travel with them. I think we're having a different conversation about Scrap Iron.
Did we ever have a Scrap Iron Snake Eyes showdown that you can think of? Because I'm just thinking of how scarred Scrap Iron, and then Snake Eyes, like the two most scarred.
Did Scrap Iron ever pay for killing the Softmaster?
I think a debt is owed.
I don't think he ever did.
I think, Snake Eyes has seen enough fire burn his face off and that sort of thing.
Clawed with tigers.
Yeah. So I think that Scrap Iron maybe is a menace to society in Snake Eyes' mind, and maybe someone needs to do something about that.
I think Scrap Iron lives rent free in Snake Eyes' head. Let's put it that way. I think Scrap Iron is the secret enemy of all this stuff.
Time to bring back Action Force in the UK. Start publishing new stories, and that's going to be the one to kick it off.
Absolutely. All right. Well, good. Oh, great. They just started drilling around here, so we're going to call it a day. Michael, thank you again so much. This was fabulous.
Thanks for having me.
Listeners, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming back every week on week and talking Action Force with Joe-Nie loves Action Force, and we love industrial drilling.
That's right.
So now you're Joe, and Joeing is half the battle.
Full force.